Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday morning to you, and welcome to another episode of our Postscript Saturday, where it's a little PS to our real estate week, where I get to share with you a little behind the scenes, some stories of what is going on at Love to List and the real estate world on a current basis, as well as information, education, providing or information and education on buying and selling and investing in real estate and why working with a professional realtor is important. So it's a valuable program that depending on where you are in the buying and selling process, this is a resource for you, as all of our episodes are going to be on our Love to List YouTube channel. Excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied this morning. Anyways, it is a gorgeous morning here in Northern Virginia, and I hope that you could hear me with all the birds chirping, and I thought it'd be so fun to come sit out here today with you while I enjoy my cup of coffee and share with you a very, very important topic. It is so critical, this topic. It is about the importance of working with the right lender. And I have a story to share. I've got lots of good information to go over with you. I hope the wind isn't going to bother you can hear, so let me know if you're on. Anyways, so let me explain. I've got my notes, so I will be looking down, and let me explain a couple of things to you. Now, in our lending world, I'd say that there's like two buckets, right? You've got your credit unions, you've got your online internet lending institutions, and you have the big banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist. These are some of the bigger, well-known banks. And then on this side, you have more of your privately owned local lending institution. And I will say, in an optimal scenario, this is the optimal, to work with your local lender. That's optimal. So what is a lender? A lender is what is called a loan officer. When you go to purchase, you are going to align yourself with a lender. And if you're working with a professional realtor, the realtor is going to give you a few names of people that they trust, people that they know are experienced and can get the results for you and get you to the settlement table on time. And that is critical. And I have a great story I'm going to share with you today. Something that happened this week where someone worked with a credit union. And so let me explain a little bit about the loan officer, and then I'm going to explain the difference between those two buckets. The loan officer is also called an LO, which is loan officer, also known as a loan originator. And I want you to really focus on this, because the loan originator, when they're experienced and they are working with you, if you are a borrower that has perfect 800 score credit, 20% down, and has a really great what they call debt to income ratio, so high income, low debt, and has never had any flaws or anything, is just good to go, gonna just move into a property, first time buying, and they have all the right stuff. That's a golden borrower, right? And then you have someone like, let's say you have a couple borrowers down here, they're married and they've been married multiple times. One is self-employed, maybe one has bad credit, maybe their debt to income is high. So this is, they have all kinds, maybe someone's getting gift money. There's so many different scenarios that could make a more complicated case versus your golden borrower. So you have your most complicated case and your golden borrower, and the loan originator sees everything from here to here and in between. And it's the loan originator, especially when they're experienced, that can look at your situation and really ask the right questions, set you up for success. And that's what I want you to focus on. The loan originator is there to set you up for success, because what their goal is to set this file up in such a way that all they have to do is hand it to the underwriter, like with a little bow on it. And the underwriter, if the file is set up so perfectly, the underwriter, all they have to do is look at it and say, review it and say, this looks good, stamp their approval, and you get your clear to close. And you always want your clear to close about 3 days before settlement, and 3 or 4 days or way before. Hey, Deborah, just talking about the importance of working with a professional, local, experienced loan originator. And optimal is if you have a private, local lending institution versus this big bucket of people over here, big institutions, online, etc. So the story is let me tell you the story, is I had a client this week that we sold their house up here. They're moving out of the area, and so one of the borrowers is going to be staying up here, and the other one's going to be staying where they're living, and they decided to work with a credit union. And the day of settlement, they were told that they couldn't settle, and while their things were on the truck. So I'll finish the story. But what I want to tell you is, once you get your experienced loan originator and they work through the file with you, the difference I would say between this bucket over here of these big institutions and the local lending institution, I'd say it's process versus people or a person. And when you're working with that professional loan originator here, you're getting a person, you're getting you know who's on their team, you know who you get to talk to, their processor, and so you get a person. When you're over here, you're usually in a phone tree. If you just call up a 1-800 number, you have no person, right? It's a process. And so the reason why that's important is because of communication. You want somebody that you can email, text, and pick up the phone. So that is a really important element. You want somebody that if there is a problem that you can get in touch with. So when you're over here, sometimes when you're in a phone tree and you leave a message, so you get a call back 24 hours later, and then you're in a meeting, you don't catch that call. So then it's another 48 hours. Sometimes over here, it's 24, 48, 72 hours later before oh, hey, Michelle, you know what it's like to work with a really good local lender. And that's what I'm talking about, an experienced professional local lender versus some of these credit unions and big banks. So it's the difference between process and person. And that person over here is available. They also have the ability to walk into the underwriter's office and ask questions while they're setting up the file for success. And they can also go to the president of the company. So it is so key to really be able, this side is more hands-on and this side is more process. And the story that I just shared with you about the people that were on getting ready to settle, and they couldn't settle because the credit union, the day of settlement, said that they needed a letter because they didn't understand, while this co-borrower was living here in our area and the other one's going to be living down out of the area. Well, it's their downsizing plan. this person up here has a place to live for free, and he's going to be commuting on the weekends down to their primary residence. And the reason why the lender would be concerned if they're split, A, are they getting a divorce? B, are they investing? No, this is a primary residence. And when it's a primary residence, you get a better interest rate. So the point is that question, why are they living apart and how are they living apart, and providing a letter to the lender of explanation for that should have never happened on the day of settlement. And that's what happens when you work with some of these bigger institutions, and this one was a credit union. Whereas if you would have worked with a local experienced loan originator who would have looked at this file with care and could have communicated this all up front with you from day one, instead, my sellers who bought out of the area with their lender had to put everything in storage for a few days, so they had to pay for that. But the other thing is the seller wouldn't let them bring any furniture in, which completely understand. But what if that seller had said, you know what, you're in default, you lose your deposit, and I'm going to go ahead and put my house back on the market because it's selling for more. And so you're out on the street, because that very well could have happened. Instead, what happened is they were able to get the letter of explanation the day of settlement, and they were able to settle the next day. But it cost. They had to get movers back in there. They had to pay for 48 hours of storage. I mean, it was very intense and frustrating. And so it can cost you if you don't know the loan officer, if your realtor doesn't have a relationship with that loan officer, and that loan officer doesn't have experience. So the optimal is local, privately owned, referred, experienced loan originator, right? I will say I have worked with some big banks like Truist, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, but the caveat is, right, don't just call a 1-800 number. Don't just walk into one of those banks. Please, please, please get a referral. I know some really good loan officers that work at Truist or Wells Fargo here locally, but that's the caveat. Get a referral for that, please, and it's so critical. So the optimal is local, experienced loan originator. They know what they're doing, and they'll set you up for success. And that is the biggest key. You want to be able to settle on time and with no cost, extra added cost to you, right? All right, so that's my message to you today on Postscript Saturday. I hope everyone is doing well. Oh, hey, Annette, you're catching me at the end. If you know of anyone that's looking to purchase, please share this episode, because it's all about why it is so important to work with the right loan originator. I hope that everyone has found this helpful. It's a gorgeous day. I'm headed out to Winchester. Usually it's staging Saturday. Today it's de-staging Saturday, where I get to go pick up some of the items that I had loaned out from my house. And check on a property that we have coming to market that has a pool. So looking forward to that. I hope everyone's having a great day, and that you've enjoyed episode 8 of our Postscript Saturday. Okay? Take care, everyone.